Welcome back to my channel, Star Booze.
Sally Field was the one who made everyone laugh on screen, but Robin Williams noticed something more. When she talked candidly about his actions on the Mrs. Doubtfire set, it showed a side of him that few people had ever seen. What did she see? That affected her for a long time. Prepare to see Robin Williams in a new light as we discover the tale behind the laughing dot, how their paths first met. When Robin Williams and Sally Field first met, it wasn't at an exclusive award event or glitzy Hollywood party. It was situated on the set of in the movie 1993. Mrs. Doubtfire would go on to become one of the most cherished, the greatest family comedies ever. The film, which was directed by Chris Columbus, portrayed the tale of a father's son, a divorce. He pretended to be elderly in an attempt to remain near his kids. Nanny from Scotland, Daniel Hillard, played by Robin Williams, underwent a transformation. Became the iconic Mrs. Doubtfire, and Sally Field portrayed his ex-wife Miranda, who was attempting to proceed and keep her kids safe. It was more than simply a meeting when they first met. Of two gifted actors, but the start of an emotional bond. As soon as there was a certain type of excitement as they all walked onto the scene. Sally Field wasn't just performing with a comedic icon, she was entering scenes with someone who brought each time the camera rolled. A new spark appeared. Williams has a reputation for being erratic. He would frequently complete a few takes exactly as the script called for, then abruptly change direction. Without notice, he would begin to improvise, adding unexpected lines and voices that made people chuckle and make gestures that elevate regular moments to remarkable ones. Any co-star might have initially found it too much to handle. Sally Field, however, was no ordinary actress. She accepted the challenge with curiosity and grace. She didn't attempt to outdo his improvised wildness. Rather, she responded to them instantly, enabling her character's reactions to seem more organic and firmly grounded in the present. Their scenes as a dance between spontaneity and organization. Each try seemed new because nothing that Williams did twice was the same. Field was compelled by this to remain grounded, and in the moment it strengthened her performance even more. The crew behind the camera was continuously adjusting to Robin's fashion sense. Chris Columbus, the director, even chose to use several cameras simultaneously while recording. He understood that attempting to use Robin's powers would be impossible to view from a single perspective. He wanted to be certain that nothing was overlooked as he observed this progression. Field soon learned to appreciate not only Williams' comic prowess, but his unwavering commitment to doing things well. He wasn't merely flaunting himself or steal the show. He aimed for the movie to be touchingly hilarious, sincere, and honest. Even though they were portraying a divorced couple, their genuine bond felt kind and considerate behind the comedy. Field but observed a sensitive man who had a great concern for people and the stuff that they were producing jointly. Williams, in turn, appreciated Field's composure. Even while he was presenting her with unexpected situations, he remained emotionally available and focused. Their connection was created as a result of their cooperation and their mutual recognition that they were narrating an important story. Their initial collaboration didn't simply produce a fantastic film. Field would remember it for the rest of her life, the remainder of her life. Their encounter wasn't only a scheduled production moment, it was the start of a friendship built on mutual respect, trust, and humor. Additionally, everything started on the day they stood opposite one another, prepared to make Mrs. Doubtfire come to life. It was a unique and distinct connection, not your typical one. Let's examine this more closely. What really stood out about their relationship, and why Sally Field and Robin Williams' friendship turned into one of silent magic in the background. A relationship based on creativity and respect. Sally Field was able to determine early on in their collaboration that Robin Williams wasn't just another funny guy. He was something more profound. His frenzied enthusiasm and sharp mind were already renowned, but it was his earnest dedication to acting that really caught her off guard. He wasn't only present to elicit laughter. He had a strong concern for the work, accurate storytelling, and being totally present at all times. That degree of fervor was particularly noticeable to someone like Field, who had always been serious about her work. When Mrs. Doubtfire was first being filmed, Robin followed a pattern. According to the script, he would perform 3 takes. He followed the lines, obeyed instructions, and produced the desired outcome. However, something magical would occur. He would start playing after those 3 takes. He would let his imagination go wild. He would change the phrases, try out different voices, alter his facial expressions, and improvise. And producing moments that no one had documented. The atmosphere on the set would shift. It turned electrifying and vibrant, as though anything might occur. For certain actors, this level of uncertainty could have been annoying. However, it added something unique for Sally Field to rather than strictly following her lines, she started answering Robin's surprises in the instant. Her responses grew more authentic. The feelings shown in the sequences were honest, yet they always practiced. The characters felt more relatable as a result, more intimately engaged and relatable because to Robin's infectious energy, though the set of Mrs. Doubtfire feels less like a work and more like a shared adventure. He would show up for work. Creative and receptive to the unexpected. This feeling of liberty enabled the actors and crew to use their imagination. Field made no effort to match Robin's quickness or creativity. Rather, she provided equilibrium. Field remained grounded, but Robin frequently took things in unexpected directions. A strong chemistry was produced by that contrast. Together, the scenes had layers of emotion and comedy that developed from their disparate yet powerful styles. The respect that existed between them was what really made their relationship unique. Robin showed respect. Sally for her emotional candor and composed strength. She admired him for his courage and limitless creativity. Each did not attempt to overshadow the other. They merely collaborated, each raising the other up. Stealing the scene was not the goal. The purpose was to inform Thaitali in the most heartfelt and truthful manner imaginable. That same respect for one another persisted off camera. Even while the cameras were rolling, Robin never hesitated to offer a kind remark or make someone laugh. When rolling, he observed everyone around him and knew when someone needed encouragement or a reprieve from the strain. The field also noticed this aspect of him, and it stuck with her. It displayed her thought. There was a really compassionate individual who wished to make a difference underneath the flurry of characters and jokes. On and off. With the screen, people feel better. Their relationship wasn't ostentatious or noisy. It was founded on confidence and strengthened by instances of genuine cooperation and bravery. They were able to build something because they trusted one other enough to be completely themselves, not to be forgotten. That connection was the source of their scenes, tears, laughter, and reality. In addition to this unique bond, Sally Field saw another aspect of Robin Williams. Behind all the laughter, there was something silent. Nobody truly knew that aspect of Robin. About, and years later she made the decision to come forward and tell what she had witnessed. A companion with the ability to read the room. Sally Field was informed that her father having passed away, she was attempting to maintain her professionalism while on the Mrs. Doubtfire set. She was in the camper close to the fictitious courtroom where the tearful divorce scene was being filmed. Her dad, who was in a nursing facility after having a stroke years before, she was deeply affected by his death. And even though she wanted to deal with the anguish, the grief was too much for her to handle. But she remained composed in front of the cameras. Sally first made an effort to remain composed. She entered a scene, took a seat in the camper close to the courthouse, and concentrated on the camera and her personality. She had established her career as a professional and two-time Oscar winner. She planned to deal with her grief. She refrained from crying. She simply made every effort to fulfill her training as an actress. But Robin Williams immediately noticed that there was a problem. He was observing Sally, not merely making jokes or acting out a role. Cautiously. Despite her efforts to conceal it, he could sense her stress and her sadness immediately. "Are you okay?" he questioned as he approached her and gently but firmly drew her away from the set. It was the hardest thing she had said all day when she told him the truth. "My father just died." What transpired next demonstrated how much he cared. He didn't think twice. "Oh my God," he continued. "We need an order to get you out of here immediately." Despite being the main actor and even a co-producer, with a busy schedule and numerous scenes to film, he was aware that Sally's welfare was the only thing that mattered at the time. Robin spoke with director Chris right away. Robin had not only received the incorrect diagnosis, but had also been afflicted with Lewy body dementia, is an entirely distinct illness. This uncommon yet violent brain disorder has an impact on behavior, mobility, memory, and thought processes. It may result in extreme depression, confusion, hallucinations, and paranoia. The symptoms frequently fluctuate, thus even doctors find it hard to comprehend what is going on. Robin was unaware of what was actually taking place within his head. Without knowing the cause, he was attempting to make meaning of a storm. His closest friends and family started to notice changes. Family and friends observed as the vibrant, the witty man they knew become more nervous and reclusive. Sometimes he couldn't remember things. His hands trembled. He started to worry about losing mental control. For an individual who having always depended on being impulsive and present, these symptoms seemed to be the ultimate treachery. He hardly ever mentioned the suffering he was experiencing, though he continued to smile at the public. Hestel made jokes beneath that smile, however, was a man engaged in a secret and perplexing struggle. Robin deteriorated quickly. He made an effort to continue working, staying busy, and maintaining hope is alive. However, the sickness persisted. He started to withdraw more and more, not knowing what kind of aid he needed or even how to ask for it. The man who had previously blazed every room he went into started to vanish into a mist of confusion and despair. On August 11, 2144, the world was shocked to learn of his passing. He had taken his own life in his house in California. There was an instantaneous and worldwide outpouring of sadness. Friends, admirers, and co-workers lamented the passing of a man who had made them so happy. However, it was also the first time they realized just how much he had been going through. Tragic irony was evident. One of the biggest providers of joy and laughter, Robin Williams, had been engulfed by antitheses that took away that inner brightness. Following his passing, significant discussions regarding misdiagnosis, mental health, and the unseen struggles that many people face. It brought to mind Untold, where people who appear to be the happiest can actually be the most struggling. Regarding Sally Field and those who knew him well, it was more than just losing a buddy. It was the agonizing gundersting that he rarely turned inward with the compassion and understanding he freely offered to others. Despite the tragic end of his life, his influence endures as a reminder to constantly explore deeper, always stay in touch with those we care about, and to never assume that a grin indicates that everything is fine. The world was rocked to its foundation by Robin's passing. It seemed unthinkable that someone who had donated SOA a lot of happiness could be lost in such a tragic way. However, even without him, the love people had never dimmed for him. Let's tell you how everyone laughs when they think of Robin Williams. An inexplicable sense of loss and affection, honors, and the enduring heritage of laughter. Not only was Robin Williams struggling with a medical diagnosis in the last months of his life, but he was battling something much more vicious and unseen. His slide started out subtly, with signage that appeared disorganized and unclear. Susan Schneider, Robin's wife, subsequently explained the encounter as the terrorist inside my husband's brain, which demonstrated how erratic and it was horrible. He would appear to be himself one minute, then be perplexed, afraid, or emotionally aloof. For someone who had used his intellect so rapidly and imaginatively throughout his life, it was intolerable to lose that power. His brain, which had been the source of his talent, was turning in opposition to him. Furthermore, there wasn't much hope for this sickness, in contrast to many others. There was no remedy. There aren't many moments of peace or understanding. It was more than just a health issue, the slow destruction of his former self. Among the most heartwarming is his Christopher Reeve, a lifelong buddy. Following Reeve's catastrophic accident that rendered him crippled, Robin was the one who cheered him up, posing as a Russian physician and using an absurd accent. Telling Reeve that he was come to conduct an emergency, Robin stormed into the hospital room. Rectal examination. After the accident, Reeve had never laughed before. He felt hopeful at that moment. It was Robin's way of saying, "You're still here," and it went beyond a simple joke. "You remain who you are." Hollywood colleagues were greatly affected by his absence. At movie premieres and business gatherings, many came out to express their grief and honor his life after his passing. Actor Jeff Bridges talked about losing a bright soul whose enthusiasm moved everyone. All around him. Producer Harvey Weinstein was among those who paid tribute to his spirit and his achievements, promising to keep sharing the happiness for which Robin was famous. These homages weren't only, they were personal as well as professional. On and off the film, he had transformed countless people from all around the entertainment industry. More tributes were given. Billy Crystal was among Robin's best friends, gave a heartfelt tribute at the Emmy Awards that year. "He made us laugh," he remarked, his voice breaking hard. Whenever you encountered him, he was the wonderful friend you could ever hope for. Another longtime friend, Whoopi Goldberg, merely stated, the former President Barack Obama even said, "It's like losing a part of yourself." A declaration characterizing Robin as a nanny, a genie, a doctor, an airman, and everything in between. He was unique, though. He came into our lives as an outsider, yet he ultimately affecting many facets of the human spirit. The grief wave went well beyond the red movie sets and carpets. Fan tributes from all around the world flooded online channels. It was like if they had lost a close friend to strangers who had never known. Robin, one individual, revealed that they had to stop while driving after learning of his passing since they were so devastated. Such a response was not unusual. Robin has been a reassuring figure to many, presence during life's highs and lows. On rainy days, people would turn to his films. His humor brightened even the gloomiest times, and his interviews were moments of unadulterated honesty, more than only his films. Robin Williams left behind a legacy of humor, unique and enduring, characters that leave a lasting impression on people. For many admirers, they first heard his enchantment through his voice as the genie in Aladdin, the genuine, not only humorous but also brimming with warmth, vitality and heart, all of which were heightened by Robin's rapid improvisation and wit. People of all ages continue to smile at the memories and quote his lines. Robin demonstrated his love for family in Mrs. Doubtfire by creating a character who would stop at nothing to be with his kids. He brought tears to people's eyes as much as laughter. Fans recall this part because of its profound emotional realism as well as its humor carried. Many recognized themselves or their loved ones in him because he portrayed it so honestly. The portrayal of Mr. Keating in Dead Poets Society had a profound effect on a generation. With the known advised his students to embrace each day and discover their unique voices by using the phrase carpe diem. People continue to quote that quote now, frequently at pivotal moments in life, as a reminder of bravery and direction. His reassuring parts in Patch Adams and Good Will Hunting are fondly recalled by fans, where he contributed compassion, insight, and emotional nuance. He had a special talent for combining humor with humanity, evoking laughter and a profound sense of understanding in others. Fans still honor his work years after he passed away. Tributes online, fan art, and marathons of films preserve his memory. Robin Williams is more than just a comic to many people. They think of him as a teacher, a friend, and a source of light in the dark. His laughter endures. What do you think of Sally Field's remarks regarding Robin Williams, their relationship, his generosity, and the suffering he concealed? Your thoughts would be greatly appreciated. Leave a comment below with your opinions.